Hey guys, welcome back, and today we are going to be talking about miniature scales, and so we're going to start with these two. Now, somebody left a comment on my unboxing the hill tribes of I think that's how you say that, and he asked kind of how they compare to other models. He mentioned specifically he liked the idea of the way they look for Chaos Marauders. Now, I do have old Chaos Marauders from Warhammer Fantasy, the old sets, but I have none built, and I don't really know where most of them are, so I unfortunately can't scale those. But I will still get right to the point with the closest thing we can, and that'll be the Dark Oath Marauders, which some people do use for their Marauders. Now, I will be covering other scale comparisons right after this, but I just thought I'd get right to the point. So for Chaos Marauders, they are both running. You can see that this guy's got like a boot up. This guy's got a second boot to give him a bit of stability. I glued him onto the stone there. And this one is also running. So they are roughly the same height in this scale. But you will, as is obvious because they're different scale model companies completely, because Middle-earth Strategy Battle, Warhammer, they are still nonetheless very different. They look almost the same height, but that's because this model is running, and even then it's taller than this guy, who's the taller of the two of these. And you can also see just the size difference. Let's see if I can grab this one. Sorry, I'm going to move some models out of the way. You can see just the sword is bigger. So I'll pull this over. Of these two, the sword is like the size of the entire human almost. Leg-wise, you can see very different. Like up to the knee is almost the same, but after that, the hill tribesmen get a lot more realistic proportioned. And even then, that's just the bent legs looking the same. So, not the same at all, unfortunately. And as a whole, shorter too. And almost all of the hill tribesmen are essentially running, so they've also got that negative on their height. Now, you could build them up pretty easily, and you could get them about the same height. Now, I don't know anything about the newest Marauders that came out, the really big guys, the most updated sculpt ones for Old World, but these guys will not really fit in, unfortunately. They look good, though, so if you do want to build them up, get them a bit higher, 100% would recommend using them for Marauders, because they do look good. You get these really nice torches that are actually, the flame looks real compared to, like, not real, but, it looks better than most Warhammer flame that they make. The weapons are very thin, though, and that's one thing that Warhammer gets better than most things. Like, one of the other models I'm going to show you. They have very thin weapons, and they break a lot easier, so you do got to be careful. But anyway, so we've kind of shown you the scale of one of these Marauders compared to them. So let's put them off to the side. Now, we're going to do a couple of non-Games Workshop companies, then we'll swing back to some Games Workshop stuff, okay? So let's start with, how about Fireforge Samurai Wars Samurai? This guy is not finished painting. You will, actually, I should mention that. You'll notice a lot of these guys will not be fully painted. Some of them will be. You'll even notice, for instance, this. One of the first things I showed off on my channel was the Dark Oath. I kind of abandoned them for a while. Not because I got like too busy or anything, but because these are for an RPG campaign me and my buddies are playing. I'm the Dungeon Master. And these guys are to represent my kind of Mongolian steppe peoples. And they're on the exact opposite side of the world, so I do not need these painted for my friends. The Japanese guy, the samurai, they also are somewhere right around the steppe. So I started painting them, and then I stopped. Then I had gotten these guys, and I started my channel, and then, from there, that's how things went. But anyway, now we can compare these two, and they are actually pretty close in size. It's probably because, Middle-earth Strategy Battle tries to be really accurate, and at least from what I can tell, correction. But they try to be pretty, like, one-to-one kind of almost like Perry miniatures. Still not perfect by any means, but, pretty close. While Fireforge Samurai Wars is really, really, it's definitely more of the Games Workshop style, where it's kind of heroic sizing. Even then, they do have like the katana, very thin, very, realistic scale compared to the model, which does fall with the issue that all of these, the more realistic models do have. They can break easily. But of course, luckily, if you buy a kit, you get a ton of spare bits. You can replace this. Like this one I didn't have to, but I do have one. I'll pull him up. He's hidden back here. His sword broke. Oh, of course he falls on the ground. His sword broke, so I just replaced it with, the head of another. So nothing really to worry about there. But as you can see, so comparatively between these two, scales, a little off. You can see Samurai Warrior is obviously bigger than the Hill Tribesmen. And that's with a similar base. All of these guys have similar bases right now. I will get into some that don't. But for, like, if you're going flat, relatively flat base, these guys do not scale too well with most kind of 28mm heroic scale kind of models. They do look amazing, I will say. I'm probably going to paint these guys soon because they are supposed to represent my bandits, which my players will interact with sooner. Actually, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to grab my current bandits. 1 second. And I'm back. You guys didn't notice that, but that took about 5 minutes. But I found where I had them. So, these Dunlendings are going to be run as barbarians or as bandits, right? And the reason why is because I already had some actual bandit kind of models. We'll move this guy off to the side here. And they were also from Middle Earth strategy. And these are those pirate people, I think. Can't quite remember what they are. But these are the ones that I ended up using for my bandits. And what I did was I ended up painting them almost pirate-like, because that's kind of what they are, really. Well, that guy's got a rock in his base. Anyway, important note, though, is just these are also Middle-earth strategy battle. You can see, actually, these are also monopose. You get, like, 2 or 3 of the same exact model in the kit. Not to say that the Dunlendings are much better, but they do have more well, not really posability. You can kit bash them a lot, for sure, if you wanted to. But straight from the box, there are a few locked-in poses and a few repeats, because it is Middle-earth strategy battle game. They don't really have a billion different poses, which isn't too bad, though, because they still look good, so, you don't really notice it. But either way, now I'm going to be running these guys as pirates, and these guys as bandits, so I'm probably going to actually paint the bandits soon, or the Dunlendings sooner rather than later. But for now, I'm using these guys. I'll pull them off now. So anyway, actually, while I'm down there, I'm also going to pull up a Snotling, just so you can get an idea of Snotling scale, too. There we go. Snotling for scale. Actually, really accurately, he's a Snotling. He's picking his nose. If you are wondering rough Snotling size, this is what it is. He's up to the knee of these guys. But yeah, anyway. We'll leave the Snotling over here because he's just kind of fun to have around. But the samurai, as you can see, bigger, thicker, bit more heroic proportions like Old World, so they would actually fit in pretty well, maybe as a Nippon army. Of course, that assumes Nippon will ever get rules. Alternatively, if you really want to, you could run your samurai, you could get a kit or two of samurai and run them as Cathay. But there's not a whole lot you can, like, even the Ashigaru look a lot like the samurai. You can see a few Ashigaru in a video I made recently. If I knew how to do one of those link here, I would, but I don't know how. So just look up in my catalog of videos the Ashigaru command. You can see roughly they're pretty much the same. Samurai Wars was a genius move by Fireforge. They're all effectively the same models, but with slight differences. The samurai get new arms and new helmets. The rest is pretty much the same, and not that I'm complaining. It's actually really, really cool, really interchangeable, and really good on their end. They don't have to put in a billion different molds. It's kind of like, one mold for the base kit, maybe 2 molds, one for samurai, one for Ashigaru, and then that's kind of it. Oh, and weapons, obviously. But yeah, I ended up getting like a box of samurai, a box of Ashigaru, and I believe a box of ranged Ashigaru, and that's kind of covered my entire need for my Japanese faction. Anyway, sorry, that was kind of a tangent. Let's move on. So, we got samurai sorted through. Let's pull out a Perry Miniatures guy. Now this is I believe they're just labeled as knights or something like that. But this is roughly the size. Now you'll see Perry Miniatures is actually pretty much the exact same size. Very nice. You can actually put these two together pretty well. So if you wanted to do maybe some peasants, these guys would fit in. Their weapons are very jagged, obviously. But if you had people who were willing to play like Perry Miniature kind of things with you, and they had, I'm gonna be honest, I don't play Perry Miniature stuff. I just buy the models sometimes because they do look good. But honestly, I can't comment on what the level of kit bashing people do for Perry Miniatures because it's historical, so I imagine it's not a crazy amount of kit bashing. But either way, this knight is just about the same height. His helmet's a bit bigger, but you know, it's a helmet, so you can ignore that. He is thicker proportioned, almost, but in like a realistic way. It also makes sense too, because he's wearing like armor, and this guy isn't. He's wearing, you know, cloth and all that. But yeah, pretty much same scaling here. Bases are again pretty much the same, just dirt. So pretty good there. We can move him off to the side. Let's pull out a Victrix Roman. And this is where the scaling gets funny, because I do not base all of my minis the same. I try not to, but you know, after 4 years, 5 years, I don't even know how long I've been doing this, but after however many years I've been doing this, after a while you kind of start running out of ideas. And also for stuff like, you know, bandits and steppe nomads, it makes sense they're running on dirt. For the Romans, I went with these green stuff world bases. I will be honest, unless you're doing a massive army, do not get green stuff world rollers, just because like I'm finished my Romans as far as I know right now, and I just kind of have the roller now, and I don't have anything I can do with it. Maybe I'll make more one day, don't know. But anyway, onto the scaling. So you will notice he's taller, even ignoring the feathers, but you will also notice there's like a solid couple millimeters of extra base at the bottom there because of the roller and green stuff. So we're gonna actually try and compare these more accurately. Now, sorry, this is going to be a bit of a mess because my camera is hooked up onto a thing. Here, what we'll just do, just try and make it a bit more accurate. We'll put them both up against the wall and just raise him up a little bit, just to kind of match. Just because you can see there's bases are thicker. So you can see if you raise it up a little bit, so they're actually kind of on equal sized bases, they are about the same height. Victrix also is one that, as far as I can tell, is very accurate in their sizing. Now, this guy is thicker than the Dunlending, but it is a different game system completely, so that's probably why. As a whole, they're both accurate, I would say, to real life sizing. Like, not 1-to-1, obviously, but you know. But even so, there is a size difference because it is two separate settings. I'm not sure. I think Victrix has their own. I don't think it's Hail Caesar, but they have something you play their Romans in. And obviously, if you get other models from that setting, they all fit in the same. Of course, actually, maybe they're just historicals. Doesn't matter, though. So the Roman, roughly about the same size, thicker a little bit. But you could probably fit these in as some kind of barbarians for that. Now, this next one is, well, the next two are going to be a little iffy. Because they are hill tribesmen, to a degree. Not literally the Dunlending hill tribesmen. These two models that I'm going to pull out, these two, represent my Norse faction, which are called the Skirric. And they are very mountainy and snowy bases. And obviously, that base is a lot thicker and a lot taller than the Dunlendings. So this one's going to be a fun one. It's going to be kind of rough. Now, I will actually note, too, you will notice a difference in the faces, obviously, and just general sculpt. The ones on the right are, I want to say, Victrix. They're something like late Dane Huskarls. I cut out all of the crosses on the models because they are not supposed to represent Christians to me. These are, again, my Skirric guys. They worship their own gods. They are not Christians. There are no Christians in my setting, so, you know. But they were late Dane Huskarls. And the one on the left is Dark Age Irish from Wargames Atlantic. I will say Victrix, I believe, has also released some Dark Age Irish, and I do not know how they compare. From what I've seen, they come with Dark Age Irish people, and they have some dogs. If you want a more in-depth look, I would recommend Paul Stanley. He has a video revealing them, an unboxing. But anyway, so we'll try and get this a bit higher up for scale. Again, Dark Age Irish, the ones from War Games Atlantic, are more Warhammer styled than anything. But even so, the height isn't bad. The two are almost the same. I would say the Dark Age Irish is probably a bit taller. You should also note thicker too. Like where the Roman before, or not the Roman, the knight before had the armored arm. These both are unarmored. Now, admittedly, he has cloth on his, but even so, you can see there's a thickness difference. So we can move him off. So he's, slightly bigger overall. This one here is Victrix. And you can see he's also taller, just a little bit. Also, really realistically scaled. You can see the thin. This is kind of how I'm judging. I kind of judge everything by how Victrix does stuff. Their stuff's pretty accurate to scale. And that axe is about the same thickness, roughly, slightly smaller, than the torch. So I kind of consider them both, to a degree, accurate sizing compared to real-life people. But essentially, the Victrix guy is a bit taller. But overall, you could probably mix these together and no one would notice. Like, even these guys. These two mixed together and no one notices, really. Unless you look at the really close-up details. They look close enough together that no one would tell the difference. So we'll move them off to the side, bring this guy back out. And I think now we will... Let's jump to a Warhammer miniature. Ooh, this is actually... I'll jump into two. This is a fully painted horse raider from the Dark Oath. I think they're called Fell Riders or something, just kind of to show you the scale. Again, I cannot show you really accurate scaling because he's on a horse and the one on the left is not. But you can see thicker head, hair is a lot more styled, thicker arms, easy. Legs are thicker. Everything's a bit thicker and bigger in detail. But honestly, if you build up the base a bit, you could probably make this guy fit in no problem. Especially, I don't know about Age of Sigmar. They are more skirmish oriented, but with bigger armies, they're all going to kind of blend together. And it's always good to see a few unique ones. Oh crap, I broke it. Well, you'll see that in a second. So, the other Warhammer model. This one might be a bit smaller, actually, because we're going to have a Skaven. Now, this is one of the new Skaven, what are they called? Iron something? They're the guard Skaven, the ones with armor and stuff like that. So we got him, and actually, funny enough, this guy is taller. So if you really wanted to... Now, I will say, the Hill Tribesmen do not have armored forms. They are just Hill Tribesmen, so you could only run them, if you really wanted to, kind of be funny, run them as maybe enslaved humans and run them as clan rats kind of thing. You'd have to get a lot of them, I imagine. But yeah, honestly, pretty much the right scale for it. Weapons probably do not match whatsoever, though. But yeah, this Skaven guy's pretty big and bulky, and the scale's a little different, but even so, he is still smaller. That's what happens when you're, a ratling. But either way, move him off to the side. Now, let's move on to... Let's go with this guy. This is the one I broke. His spear is broken at the top there. I gotta glue the top of it back again. We're gonna go with this kit-bashed Grail Knight guy. Just a note, I made an entire Bretonnian army out of Fireforge Knights, and then I ended up buying Bretonnians anyway. So I just have a giant setup of knights that do not have any real use yet. I might sell them, I might keep them, run them as something else. I did have an idea of running them as halflings to their size, but doing this scale video reveals to me they are really not that different size. Like, the Romans are taller, sure, but not by much, and that's even with the extra base. And that's, sorry, he's even hiding like that there. Like, yeah, they're actually pretty big. But I will say, may as well show you this guy now. This is, I want to say a Teutonic Knight. What I did was I got, like, Fireforge normal knights, I think. And I got a set of Teutonic Knights, which gave me the special helmets, because I was going to run them as Grail Knights. Or something equivalent. I didn't really know Bretonnians, how they worked. I ended up just getting the Bretonnian box again anyway. But they are some kind of cool knights. But anyway, about slightly taller. Their base is pretty much the same again, just dirt with rocks on the bottom. Even, honestly, he's actually really big comparatively, which is surprising. Normally it's Warhammer and Games Workshop stuff is bigger than everybody else's, with, like, heroic scale. But yeah, this guy is actually small, and admittedly it is Middle-earth strategy battle game, but, like, even so, he is quite a bit smaller. So we'll move him over to the side here. Let's pull out an Italian infantryman from, I believe, Wargames Atlantic. Now these guys I've used for my entire 40k Astra Militarum army, but and honestly a lot of them are heavily kit bashed. This one is not kit bashed at all. He's just painted. So this is functionally an actual Italian model from the Wargames Atlantic. As you can see, he's got the Italian light machine gun, the backpack, the little water canteen, and a little packet of ammo or whatever. This guy has not been kit bashed whatsoever. I do have kit bashed ones, for instance, the Casterkin I'm working on repainting right now because I added their new gear. But essentially, this is legitimately just a Italian Wargames Atlantic model. Scale-wise, for whatever reason, if you wanted to scale these together, this guy's actually taller. And you will note that the feet are not on a chunk of wood. They're separate. So just ignore the trench board underneath him. Yeah, this guy's maybe a bit taller. Sure, the cap on the Italian's a bit higher, brings him up a bit more. But as a whole, they're about the same size, so not bad. Maybe that's important if you decide to go with, like, Italian infantry and, you know, Dunlending tribals for, like, let's say, Conflict 47 or something like that. But yeah, pretty much the same size, so if you were interested in that at all, there you go. We will do, how about, I'm running out of models actually down here. I have one over here. What is he? Oh, a Blood Reaver. Oh, sorry. This is pretty close to if I'm thinking right, the Blood Reaver is pretty close to a Chaos Marauder. And you can see he's, even crouched down, he is taller. Like, you can, sure they're both running, but you can see he's really got bent legs, so as a whole, he is thicker, bigger in every way. He is a Khorne model, so, you know, big and muscular, but, like, he is taller. So you can see the scale does not really match up. Like, the only reason they're anywhere near each other is because of how much he's leaning forward. Yeah, that's kind of all I can show you with this guy. There's not a whole lot else with a Blood Reaver. But yeah, we'll put him off to the side. Let's pull out, let's pull out some Bretonnians. Now, we'll start with a Bretonnian archer peasant. As you can see, smaller. The peasant, I mean. Admittedly, Bretonnian peasants are built to be very, very small. But even so, like, yeah, this guy fits in pretty well. So if you want to run him for Old World, really, really good, especially if you want to run him as peasants. As Marauders, I imagine, again, bulk him up a little bit on his base and you're fine. But yeah, scale-wise, not too bad. Yeah, let's put him off. Let's grab a Bretonnian Man-at-Arms. You can tell, a bit thicker. Ignore his weapons too. His arm, this arm, the left or the right arm, is a Bretonnian model. The left arm there is not. So, like, that specific left hand is from the Wargames Atlantic Conquistadors. But you can see he does have his head tilted down, but even if it was tilted all the way up, he would fit in roughly about the same height, if not actually a bit shorter, because again, like I've said, the helmet adds an inch or two. Bretonnians are very, very small models comparatively. Like, even look at that. You can see the Bretonnian is not great when sized up against the Roman, and his base even has that little build up a little bit, so they're almost the same. Again, we'll pull out the Snotling for scale, because they're just not doing well. Like, they're up to the knee of everybody. Everybody is a lot taller than Snotlings. They're such fun models, though. Now, let's pull out... I've got three more models to show you. Let's go with a Tomb King skeleton. Now, you can see this is a Tomb Guard specifically. So, he's a little bit more, cool looking, really. And his base is slightly taller. You can see I've added in some plastic art in there. So you can also kind of cut off a good millimeter or two. And they also have that giant crest on their head. But if you ignore the crest, if you ignore the little bonus given by the plastic art at the bottom, they are about the same height, which is pretty good. So again, these guys are not built for old world whatsoever, but they could very much fit in as almost anything. That's basic, foot soldiers. You can get them in there. You will see scale size difference of the weapons, though. Like that's pretty much a battle axe compared to this guy's little axe here. But yeah, not really bad scaling either. And you can, funny enough, the skeleton, the guy built of bones, has thicker limbs than the guy. To be fair, the bare bone parts look to be about the same size as him, so yeah. And even then, he is leaning more forward. So yeah, I'd say roughly almost about the same height. If you built it up, bulked up the base a bit, he'd fit in fine. Let's pull in a Acadian model. Now, most of you guys will not see this. You will not know fully what this guy is from, unless you've watched a very recent video of mine about my my new squad, the Acadian Recon Squad. This is him fully painted up. I will be releasing a video of the entire Acadian Recon Squad painted up. But just to give you an example, this guy is, while he is heavily kit bashed, the base model is a old Acadian model. So the legs are old Acadian model, the body is an old Acadian model, and the head is from the Acadian upgrade sprue. So overall, scaling is completely the same. I will say with his hair, he's a bit taller. But honestly, they're pretty much the exact... You can even see, actually, I didn't even notice that. On the camera, you can see this line back here. That kind of shows you they are roughly about the same height. So not bad at all. Again, of course, Acadians are not at all related to Middle-earth Strategy Battle. But if you somehow ran them in there, there you go. And just to be funny, at the end we have an ogre from Warhammer Fantasy. Bigger than every one of these guys, easily. Except for maybe the guy on the horse. Honestly, even as a Bretonian, could you imagine having to fight an ogre? Like, that guy's entire arm is about the size of the Bretonian's torso. But either way. Yeah, ogre is massive. Snotling for scale. Oh, never mind, no snotling for scale. He fell on the ground. Pull him back up. Oh, I actually did have one more model. We forgot about that one. I'll show you him in a second. But yeah, like, the ogre is massive. But last model is this one that I completely forgot about. We have an old Moria goblin. It might not be Moria. It might have been the Hobbit's goblins. I think it was the Hobbit's goblins. The ones with the Goblin King. But yeah, I got a kit of these guys. And I run them as kind of like these cave troglodytes. Size-wise, they are fine. And to be fair, that makes sense. They are from the exact same setting. Exact same game system, everything. But even so, those goblins are massive. I get why they're such a threat in the game, or in the lore. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any other ideas, like another scale video kind of thing, I could probably pull up a bit more. I've got a lot of models to go through. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that video. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment any ideas you have, anything you want to say. And yeah, see you next time.